One of the biggest takedowns ever of a drug-dealing Chicago street gang.
Chicago police and federal authorities rounding up dozens of suspects. Our chief correspondent Jay Levine has the story of a major offensive that could have even greater implications. Like what, Jay?
Like real cooperation, Rob and Kate, which had been rare in the past. Cooperation between Chicago police and the feds today, resulting in 33 arrests, including the leaders of one powerful street gang, in what could be a blueprint for a citywide assault on all violent gangs.
This really is a new face of organized crime. The gangs and obviously the cartels are really what we're up against. Years ago, we used to pile drugs and money and guns on one side and use that as an indicator of our success. And they're still very, very important indicators. But the real scorecard should be how we disrupt and dismantle violent criminal organizations.
To do it took the entire group, nearly a dozen different agencies and departments who gathered at police headquarters today to announce what they hope is the end of the Imperial Insane Vice Lords.
They're pretty much crippled. This phase of the investigation, took the top shelf of their hierarchy.
But as important as, in his words, crippling one significant street gang, was who did it and how, with federal strike force funding bringing together the resources of Chicago police and federal authorities.
It's so important that we have the ability to work closely with the U.S. Attorney, to bring in the IRS where appropriate, where we can chase the money and find out where those resources are going.
And if you read this indictment, it is the playbook for how to do that. The Chicago Strike Force, I think when Gary and I first started talking about it a year or two ago, this is exactly what we had in mind.
And no better partners than Jack Riley and Gary McCarthy. The strike force was formed at the urging of McCarthy and the mayor, who was concerned about the lack of help from the feds in the fight against street gangs. Rahm Emanuel's influence in Washington undoubtedly played a role here, and today, the seeds planted 2 years ago finally bore fruit. Real fruit, Rob.
Because let's be honest, this is what everybody's been talking about at the local level and federal level for the past few years, is how to take down these prolific and horrific street gangs.
And now we've had two federal city news conferences in the last month, and perhaps the promise of more to come.
Progress. Thank you, Jay.